Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Gladys on Love. This is actually take two of our video because it got cut. And today I have a very special guest, Chad Foster. He also do a lot of content in YouTube. And what really draws me or what intrigues me to collaborate with you, Chad, is the tagline that I saw in your Facebook, which is escaping the West to find a more meaningful life overseas. Tell me more about that.
You like that, eh?
I love that.
Yeah, it just came to me. It's just basically that. I was living what most people would say a pretty decent life over there. I had a decent job and I had a house and I lived in a pretty cool area, but I wasn't fulfilled. I think a lot of it had to do with a bit of that grind mentality. You know, you got to pay the bills, the mortgage. A lot of your time is spent working. The cost of living is high. And I also wasn't just loving what I was doing. Like I had an occupational therapist, and working in healthcare over the years can kind of grind you down. It's tiring. And the same with a lot of the nurses that I knew and other therapists and doctors. I was burnt out and I needed a change. And I had a lot of days where I didn't wake up in the morning with any feeling of like excitement to just go to work. And I would meet people every once in a while that had that. And I'm like, I need that. Like I need to figure something out. But then I was like, how do I get out of this like cycle that I'm in? How do I find the time and the energy to start something new? And basically the whole thing came about from knowing some other Filipinos that I worked with, introducing me to the Philippines through conversation, realizing how beautiful a place it was, learning about the cost of living. And then after going through a breakup, my buddy who's from Leyte that lives in Florida, where I was working with him, he was like, well, do you know much about Filipinas? He's like, if you like petite, cute, caring, loyal type girls. And I'm like, tell me more. Yeah, he kind of sold me. He sold me on a lot of these things, right? So I started looking into it. And I was burnt out in dating there too, not just my work. And so it just got me this feeling of excitement, of something new, something different. And there's a whole story with that. But basically, to fast forward, I came over and started the YouTube channel right away. And the rest is history. It's it was an opportunity to try something different. And I had, this is take two. It's funny because I'm thinking of your questions from before, but you would ask me about, COVID got in the way. And with COVID coming, it actually helped me because I was going to come over here just based on this excitement. I was just going to use some savings and quit my job and just go explore for a little bit. But in the end, it became a much more planned out, proper thing because with COVID and the time that I had, I ended up investing in some real estate when the prices were low. It was a fixer-upper, fixed it up, and fast forward a little while, and it turned into 2 rental properties with pretty decent rent coming in, with some income from that. And it was enough for me to come over. And actually, instead of just coming for a few months, I'm like, I'm going to go for like 9 months, and I'm going to really check it out.
Really have the experience. I think the good learning there is don't just fly because of that exciting feeling.
Yes.
Think it through.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you definitely want to come here with a plan. You got to come here with some financial backing, unless you're just coming for a vacation. That's one thing. But if you're quitting your job, and like some people sell their homes and do all these stuff, and they just get so excited and they retire too early or whatever, you want to think it through for sure. And so it was a blessing in disguise with COVID. And and it was an opportunity because I could breathe a little bit. I could come here and knowing I didn't have to worry about my finances, and I could use that time to figure out another way to earn money. And because I'm not near retirement in any way. And I had done enough investigating and research about YouTube and just other ways to earn online. And me having a background in video, my first career was video production and digital media before becoming an OT. I had thought about it for years. I just didn't know what the content was going to be. And I don't know, I just didn't have the courage, I guess, to just try something. And this was just the perfect opportunity. And 2 years later, over 2 years, now it's like my main focus. And as you know, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I love creating content and helping people kind of figure out ways to do what I'm doing.
Prior to you flying here in the Philippines, what were your expectations that you have in mind, and what was the expectation versus reality thing that you
Yeah.
experienced?
There was like there's some things, right? Like I did my research and I had Filipino friends, so I got to kind of get a little inside scoop to what to expect. But no, there's definitely always, until you come, you don't really know, right?
Yeah.
There was a few things that I was excited about. One being like nature and beauty and all that. One being cost of living, lifestyle based on that low cost of living, and then the other being like dating, relationship opportunities, getting excited about the potential with that too. So with those three things, I'd say the beauty here, the nature is amazing. However, I could say maybe the reality would be it's not always shown on like travel vlogs. I don't want to paint the Philippines with a negative light because the beauty here is incredible, but there might be some trash, and you might be on a beach and you look to the right and it's piled up somewhere. I've just been all over the Philippines, and sometimes you do see stuff like that and it's not pristine. We're like, a lot of foreigners are used to going to these resorts in Mexico and the Caribbean or a European vacation or some of these really higher end places. There's natural beauty here that's mind-blowing. However, that is just a reality too, that you're going to see some things, the infrastructure, maybe the road to get to the most popular beach in El Nido, Palawan. It might be like a road that is not maintained, and you might, like for me, I think I roll with that stuff. It doesn't really affect me too much, and it's just, I've been to other developing countries, but I had a buddy that came and visited recently, and he was just like, what the heck? Like, he's used to going where he's spoiled, where everything's so nice and pristine and clean and all that stuff. But it can appear messy and it can appear a little rough around the edges, right? So that would be the two sides to the nature. The cost of living, for me, that's always been pretty good. I feel amazed with the kind of setup you can have here within a moderate budget. Now, I didn't get too caught up in those videos, live like a king for $1,000 US. So there's a lot of stuff like that. Maybe there was a little bit of like surprise with certain costs, and some people do say that. And I know cost has gone up in the Philippines, but it's so manageable to live here on a really low budget compared to what we're used to. So no biggie. And then dating, oh man, that's just such a different world over here. So there's two sides to it. Like it was described to me like you're gonna be like a celebrity and they're gonna love you, and I never thought they're gonna chase you and as soon as you step out of the plane, like the Beatles, like all the girls want you. But yeah, there was part of me that was wondering, is it gonna be that different where I can go up to anyone and they're just gonna like me because I'm a foreigner? Like there was this little bit because of some of the conversations I had. Even my Filipino friend was saying, he's the one that used the term celebrity. I think he said like B-level celebrity. He's like, you're not gonna be Tom Cruise, but you're gonna be like, I don't know, some random actor. So with that, I went straight to IT Park in Cebu City. And that is very different than going to, I don't know, Leyte in some small town where they don't see too many foreigners. You might get a lot more that attention. You might get a lot of stares. Cute girls might giggle and oh my God. You know, some people will even take photos with you depending on where you go. So that does happen here, but you're not going to really be overwhelmed with that in BGC or IT Park in Cebu or any of the really touristy areas. It's going to feel more similar to what you're used to, but not quite. There's still incredible opportunities to date girls that most guys would say, girls that they normally don't get attention from in terms of their looks, their beauty, being younger. It definitely happens here. Like it's a different level for sure. So that was all in line, I guess, with my expectations. But the reality of it here is there's a bit of this perceived thing where, you know, guys come here and want to meet this amazing girl, right? The typical Filipina, and there are many of these types of girls, but what we would describe as being petite and cute and caring and sweet and loyal and devoted and just perfect wife material. It's not necessarily just easy to find that's single, that you can connect with them where you're mutually interested and you're on the same page and you just go off into the sunset together. It can be actually tricky. What's that?
So romantic.
Right? Yeah, that's what all us guys want. We want, no. Anyways, it's there. There's a lot of distractions here. There's so many reasons too for why it can become difficult to find that. Some of it is it's just not always easy to find that type of girl. Maybe they're taken, a lot of those types of girls. Maybe they're not even really looking. The girls that are really looking for foreigners and they're like concentrated on these dating apps and they're hanging around the foreigners, they're often the ones that have other motivations. It's just easier to end up in relationships with them because they're just they're the front line. They're the ones that you'll interact with right away. And a lot of guys don't know maybe the difference. And some of these really good, I would say that's the biggest thing. Don't expect it to just be, you show up and you're just gonna find the one that you feel like is perfect for you. It can take a while. And most guys that I know that have been here for a bit, it did take them a while.
I love what you said in our first video that got caught. About really being clear of what you want.
Yes. So I can expand, I can mention that again. You come to a place like the Philippines, like I said, you're gonna get attention, you're gonna match with girls online. You might, if you hop on a dating app, there's girls that are in their early 20s that are gorgeous, that are gonna be interested in you. Or whether or not they have the good intentions, you don't know. But guys, we have these caveman brains sometimes, and you get distracted. You'll start to think, this is gonna be the right kind of girl for me. Or you'll see a couple where this beautiful younger girl's with this older, below average guy, and they seem awesome or whatever. They seem like they're happy. And so guys are like changing their whole game plan of what they're going after. So figuring out like, what is it that you really want? Do you want just to have fun? Do you want short term? Do you want to just kind of see where things go and not worry about compatibility? Do you want to have kids? Most Filipinas, they either have kids or they want to have kids. And I think some of the older guys that come here don't necessarily want to have kids, and a lot of them don't want to have kids even in the picture because they don't want to raise someone else's kids. But that is a common thing you're going to run into, is you're going to meet a girl that she wants marriage and kids, or she's has a young child or two, and are you okay for that? So it's kind of one or the other.
Exactly. I love that you touch on that because, in a relationship, it's not just about chemistry, about the physical, attractiveness of the person. Because as you said before, beauty fades eventually. And I like when you mention about what's important to you is also having connection.
It's huge.
And I think that's really great. And most importantly is the compatibility. Do you actually have the same plan and the same goal? Or are you willing to sacrifice those plans, the goals, the dream life that you actually want to live? Just for the beauty of a cute Filipina.
This happens. Most guys go through this, me included. You get attention, or guys are focused more on appearance, like we naturally are, and I think women are a little more focused on stability and seeing the future and what's going to happen to feel stable, and we're caught up in the shiny stuff, right? But what happens though is if that's your main focus, you quickly realize how boring it can be being with someone that, maybe they're very attractive, but if you don't have conversation and you're not laughing and you're sitting there having dinner with someone that it's just empty,
I'm in my phone, in my TikTok.
Oh my God, that too. And I've had that with a wide range of ages too, right? The connection is by far the most important thing. So I think guys, even when they come with certain intentions, they get caught up in a different world here, different temptation and opportunity. And so really knowing what you want. The guys that I see that do really well, they are so sure of themselves and what they want. Guys that are really thinking marriage is good for them, having kids, starting a family is good for them, or fully embracing someone that has kids. If you are that guy, you're gonna have, oh my God, you're gonna have no problem. Those girls are gonna melt. If you're genuine, and you want that, that's definitely a thing. And I think a lot of guys are just not so sure about going down that path. So you got to sort of sort that out.
You as a person, because you seem to know what you already want, was that natural? Were you able to figure that out?
It took me a bit. Away? No, it took me a while. I've been here for over 2 years. I knew that I wanted to feel something. I knew what I wanted to feel, a connection, right? I know that I wanted to feel at ease with her. I know like I wanted to be myself around her. I felt things like that in the past in relationships. You know, I do like travel, I like exploring, and I had this vision of sharing that with someone. Yeah, so I knew it was more about a feeling that I was going for, and some things that I thought was finding a girl that maybe was from the province, that had more traditional values. You know, you hear about these things, and I thought, well, yeah, maybe that would be a good thing. Someone that you feel is just so devoted and caring, and you can just take care of each other and trust each other. And so earlier on, I did, you know, spend some time with someone that was from the province, and the connection was so limited because the conversation just wasn't there. It was just this, disconnect, you know, maybe a physical attraction, but it really got old pretty quick, and I realized I needed banter and just some of that connection, and then found someone else that I felt that with, and that's a whole story on where that went, but I learned about a whole other side of the Philippines and things to be careful of. And so, I don't know, I went through trying different things and realized I'm figuring it out. Like I didn't quite know what I was looking for, because it's a place where there's all these new, I guess, opportunities, right? To figure that out. I mean, I thought, well, maybe it's an age thing, and I dated someone that was like 40, and she was very, very nice. She was pretty, but that was the first time I got a taste of like tempo, jealousy, a feeling of just like control, a lack of like...
A woman at 40.
Yeah.
40.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. I don't think that is something that age really impacts, maybe. I don't know. That's my experience. I have a buddy that he's dating a girl that's in her late 30s, and he said it's becoming a nightmare because of, he just can't do anything without her like getting angry and accusing him. And he's the nicest guy, right? Like, and he has kids, and he'll be busy with his kids, and he won't get right back to her, and she just explodes on him. So I don't know, I started to feel that, and I'm like, okay, so it's not necessarily age. I've dated girls that were younger, that were just very sweet and cool in other ways. And it's just sort of like piecing it all together, and it's not, it's a connection, it's a feeling, and you just know when you feel it. Yeah. Another thing would be like, do they work or not work? I was struggling to figure out like, okay, my lifestyle is pretty like not typical, right? My work is, I make YouTube videos and I can be anywhere, and I was traveling so much. And then I'm attracted to a girl that represents like she's responsible and good family person that I can trust and connect with. Well, that girl doesn't have that mindset of just like, all right, let's go. Yeah. Like she's got a job, or she's got a schedule, and she's committed to that, and you need to really invest time and patience. And I'm just like traveling around the Philippines, right? So I didn't find myself in these situations where I could establish that kind of a connection, which takes some time. But you know, and realizing a good Filipina is going to be cautious, and you're going to have to be really patient. Exactly. And I think I was just on a mission for adventure, but I was also on a mission to find that person that I could bond with, thinking it could happen quicker, you know? Not the case. Yeah.
I love that you mentioned about your dating experience as well, because it's definitely not that easy. It took me 2 years, and I'm glad that even though I was so desperate at that time, that I have such a low standard for myself, but I have a high standard for my kids, who are the guy that I would introduce to them. And it saves me, because the guys that I used to attract back then are not really, I wouldn't say high quality men. And when I transitioned to just, you know what, let me just meet people and figure out what do I really want. And as you said, you meet different guys from different country, and then you figure
it out that way.
Like, oh, I love this guy's personality. But I realized, oh, we're not very compatible when it comes to lifestyle. So it doesn't work. And I realized like, oh, this is actually the lifestyle that I want. I see dating before as something very stressful, but when I transitioned to just not having any expectations,
you lower your expectations.
I started enjoying going out and meeting people.
Get rid of expectations and bring in a feeling of gratitude for just, you know, just being and living and enjoying and connecting, meeting people.
That's true.
I think that's a good way to go. Like, take the pressure off yourself. Like, I definitely was really wanting someone, and I thought, if I just really want it, and I just meet and get on dating sites, and you know, it'll just happen. But things happen, I think, when you're not really, it's cliche, right? You're going to meet that person when you're least expecting it. There's truth to that. Like if you focus on yourself and just being happy and focus on the right things as far as the kind of girls and not go down the path and wasting time and energy with the wrong people. Yeah, that's all stuff guys have to sort through when they come here.
Exactly.
Dating is not hard here. It's not hard to get a cute girl to be with you, right? What's hard is finding the one you really feel a deep connection with, that you feel you can see yourself with that person way down the road.
Yeah.
You know, that you just match in a way that makes you real excited and you feel safe and you can be yourself, and that can be tricky here. Yeah.
It reminds me of me and Eli when we met. I also know that Eli is meeting other people, and sometimes I even met those people because he likes to introduce people together. And like, oh, I think you must like this girl as well because he has the same personality as you. And when I start having conversation with a girl, like, oh, you met Eli through a dating app. Interesting.
Oh, really?
But because both of us don't have any expectation of being together, I just wanted to meet people, learn from people.
Okay.
It doesn't really bother me. And even when Eli asked me to be in a relationship, I was like, I don't want to get jealous. I like the people that you actually connect. And I know some of them are in a dating app. So again, just removing that expectation allows to a lot of possibility.
Well, what you're describing is very healthy. And I think a lot of people, Filipinas do have a reputation of not approaching it that way.
Yeah.
Having nothing but expectations and quickly jumping to conclusions and assuming, you know, the guy's doing this or that. And there's a fear of cheating, probably for good reason from experiences and stuff like that. But a lot of foreigners can run into some challenges. What was I just talking about?
Filipinas are actually getting jealous.
Oh, yes. A lot of foreigners struggle with that. They struggle with the feeling of a girl that is more concerned with, you know, quizzing you and being a detective to try to catch you with something. And
putting you in a test.
And then maybe give you the silent treatment for things that you might not even know perhaps what's going on. And that does become a thing. Some guys will say, don't date a Filipina if you're not okay with that. I've had enough experiences now where there are Filipinas that are not that bad with that at all. They handle it well and mature. You seem to be a good example of that, at least through some development of a different way of thinking about things. So I think if that's a big thing for you and you struggle with someone that's going to be getting on your case all the time, it can be tiring. And guys can be that way too, right? Very controlling over their girls. So you got to take your time. And if you're just chasing beauty, chances are you're probably going to run into some of those traps if you're focused on just that. Yeah.
I guess to wrap up this video, what would you say is the biggest learning overall in your journey of, I'm going back to this words that you were saying of escaping the West and trying to find meaningful or fulfilling life overseas?
Well, I often think about this. In fact, when I was working as an OT and I was working with older people and they were at the final stage of their life, you know, I think it's good to have the reminder. That's one thing that I learned from that is how short life is and how important it is to pursue things that are meaningful to you, that excite you, whether it be adventure or finding things that are even deeper, where you're maybe giving back in the community and you're finding connections with people where you have layers of that kind of meaning, purpose. If it's work, like me, I get up and I'm excited now doing this new thing. I feel like I'm on this journey with who knows what's coming down the road, where before I felt stuck and it was just going to be the same thing. So talking to a lot of these older folks in my last job, a lot of them often would say things like, you know, don't leave anything on the table. Like, you don't want to be where I am feeling regretful for the things that I didn't do or the connections I could have had. And then speaking with those that did those things and felt like they didn't miss out and they just had a different vibe at their final stages of their life. And yeah, so coming over here, it's a journey and I feel like I'm pursuing a new opportunity every day with possibility, like so many possibilities. It doesn't have to be the Philippines. It doesn't have to be travel related. It could be anything. I think just that life is short mentality and to try to live it up and don't be afraid to take a leap of faith and face some fears and do some things with your life and be positive and make good connections and be good to people. And I think that always pays off too.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. I'm listening to it too. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any question, feel free to write it down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this, give it a like and also subscribe.
Yeah,
Subscribe
guys,
if you have.
Come on, get on it.
And please follow Chad. Chad, what's your YouTube channel?
Oh, thank you. Chad Foster Explores. Yeah, check it out.
Thank you so much, everyone, and have a beautiful day. Mwah.
Thanks for watching.